This is your weekly investigation into all things legal. This is Law and Disorder on the Dean Obeidallah Show.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live right here, Tuesday, January 22nd. And that music, if you're listening closely, is a sound-alike. That's the first lesson today on Law and Disorder, our legal hour, because if we actually use this sound, we're going to have to pay a license fee. And right here to make sense of it all, MSNBC's legal analyst, the one, the only, Danny Cevallos. How are you, buddy?
Dean, it is a pleasure to be here. I just landed from Florida, and those folks know how to live down there. The weather is just glorious. The weather's glorious. I mean, it's a little chilly in the morning, a frigid 50 degrees in the morning. 5 degrees here yesterday. I know. I had nothing but sympathy for you folks up here.
It was there was a penguin with a jacket. It was so cold where I lived. It was terrible.
Now tell me, is this the season that folks go out to see stand-up comedy?
We did a show Sunday night. It was sold out. Big Brown Comedy Hour. Nina, our little Nina folks, who people know from the show, debuted in the Brown Show. She's been doing comedy for like 8 or 9 months at night. She did her best like 6-7 minutes, did really well, but it was sold out. It was a great crowd, a lot of really good comics in the show. Some who come on our Friday thing, we had Wally Collins was in it, Mason Zayed, and other people don't know right now, like Rami Youssef it's getting announced this week. He's got an HBO special.
Oh my gosh.
He'll be shooting that. He's in his like late 20s, and he has a Hulu series that comes out in April. And so we had a really great lineup of comics.
Oh, fantastic.
And so people do want to come out. The winter, it's cold, but if you're a New Yorker, I mean, you've got to go out. You can't just sit home.
If you're a New Yorker, if you can make it to the subway, you're okay. You know, if you can get to the subway and you only have a block once you get out of it, you can survive if you make a run for it. It's doable.
But I have to be honest, the streets Sunday night, besides our comedy show, were empty. And Monday, because it was a holiday, just vacant, because it really was 5 degrees without wind chill. It was below, and in New York, we're not used to that. That's way, I mean, it was below zero with the wind chill, and you went outside and you just started cursing for no reason.
Yeah,
because it was that cold. You're like, what?
Right.
What? And people were just like, so New Yorkers, just like, handful of New Yorkers just yelling and cursing. We usually do that a lot, but usually when we're stuck on line or a tourist stops, you ever see tourists, they come out of the subway? If you come to New York, don't do this. Tourists come out of the subway and they stand on the top like they're Christopher Columbus, like they just discovered the new world. They look around like, look at New Times Square. I'm like, we all have seen Times Square. Stop. Don't stop at the top of the steps. Move, please, for the love of God.
I have to do an NFL pass rush to get around some of these folks. I'm spin techniquing, swimming
they just
over
stop,
them.
And they take a picture of nothing. And it used to be the old days, can I take a picture where you take it, now that everything's selfie and stuff, but I love tourists. They're great people.
We're glad to have them.
Just don't stop on the summit. All right, let's talk about, we weren't going to talk about this, but you baited me into talking about this, the Magga hat kid, because he's making the rounds.
That's right.
And, oh my God, we got it out of context. He said tonight, he was interviewed by Savannah Guthrie, the Magga kid, and she said to him, do you want to apologize for anyone about the incident?
That's right.
And he said, no, I had a right to stand there and do that. Sure, you had a right, but you're also a dick by that statement. I mean, I got to be honest. There was no need to say, I had a right to stand. Of course you do. He could have said some kind of big-natured apology about, hey, I'm sorry that the man, Mr. Phillips, thought I was taunting him or something like that, because he's saying I wasn't taunting him. When you watch the video again, even his own statement, the kid said, these drummers came through, and that's true. The video shows it. Everyone parted their ways. Well, he did not. He made a choice to stand there. And I'm not saying it was racist or anything, but he made a choice to be defiant or to be like a kid or be a jerky kid. And it escalated from there.
I want to ask you a series of questions,
Oh, no.
Dean.
Where's my
First
lawyer?
of all,
oh, you're my lawyer.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately.
Objection. I object my own attorney's
This is an
questioning.
ethical violation. I'm taking an adverse position. And it's not necessarily adverse, but I'm saying this to you. Are you judging... Here's the first question I have. Are you judging what this individual, I believe his name is Sandman, did?
Right.
Or are you judging what everybody who is visible in the video did? Are you judging the other people saying they were taunting?
I mentioned earlier, but no, I gave the whole context on the show that it was the black Israelites were cursing at them and calling them slurs.
That's right.
And they were escalating back and forth, and the Native American man, and it seems undisputed in a way, went through the middle to try to diffuse the situation. He wasn't there because he was also being cursed at by the black Israelites, according to the reporting I saw.
A couple things.
Okay.
All right. Have you seized upon any evidence that shows that these high school kids were dishing it back to the black Israelites as much as they were? Because you just said the words back and forth.
I'm not. I saw that he said I mean, Mr. Phillips said that it was a storm of hate that was brewing. And
okay, a storm of hate is not a specific fact. A storm of hate is helpful.
I've been in a storm of hate,
and is
once.
not Mr. Phillips?
It's a lot of cursing.
Yes, I know. Okay. I see the maelstrom above this building several times a week. Part 2 is just saying that it was a storm of hate. Part 2, Mr. Phillips has, other than Mr. Phillips, is there any evidence that the Catholic high school kids were shouting obscenities? There might be, but I have not seen any to this. And the 2-hour video, from what I understand, does not contain any racist statements by the kids shouting. Video
today got nominated for an Oscar, which was kind of best short-form documentary.
Most boring Oscar ever.
Right.
But, so part 2 is this. So in your answer, you conceded that Nathan Phillips waded over to this controversy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So isn't it fair to say that no matter who you are, if you make the decision to publicly protest, you are putting yourself out there for some amount of you cannot claim to be a bystander if you are out there protesting. I mean, you expect that you're going to argue with folks and they're going to have differing views, right?
Potentially.
I'm not saying that anyone should have racial epithets shouted at them, but I just haven't seen the evidence yet that kid, Sandman, I don't remember his first name.
I think it's Nicholas.
Nicholas, yeah. That he directed any epithets at Phillips, right?
Well,
Are you saying there's any evidence?
I haven't even heard any allegation of that.
What did Sandman specifically do that you saw in the video?
Right over your shoulder.
Good.
He's staring down.
He stared someone down.
Right. Smugly.
Did he make any threatening gestures?
No.
Did he say anything?
No.
So I want to be clear that what he communicated by standing there and smiling was offensive to you. Now we're seizing upon an interesting topic.
With a MAGA hat.
So is it...
If he was wearing a New York Yankees hat, or you were a New York Giants hat, I just thought he was just a jerk.
Would you have a problem with Nicholas if he was wearing a New York Yankees hat? Would you have any problem with this video as we're looking at it right now?
I'm looking right now over your shoulder. The smugness on his face was one of... looks like white privilege on steroids type of thing.
Okay, so basically by Nicholas standing there, your interpretation is that he is making he is directing smugness and white privilege.
Yes.
That's what he's communicating is
plus
smugness and white privilege.
Plus the MAGA hat, buddy.
Okay.
You're missing the biggest piece of evidence.
Do you see, Dean, here's the thing. Dean, you're one of the leading liberal voices, and what concerns me
on 6 to 9 on this channel.
Yeah, no, you really are. And what concerns me is that, Dean, you're a comedian. If anyone is an advocate for First Amendment free speech
Where am I not
rights,
advocating First Amendment?
But you are essentially
objection, Your Honor. Objection. This
guy
is you're asking your own questions and answering them. This is ridiculous.
Right. But you are. So why would you not support someone's right to wear a MAGA hat?
Why? No, I support. I want to know who they are. I wish all Trump supporters would wear MAGA hats. At least I can know who they are. It would be a little bit better.
But you realize
it's a less intrusive version of a Glorious Bastards, where they carve the swastika into the forehead of people before they let them go.
But okay, so now that is something really bad. Right. That's a horrible thing.
Right, so you don't do that.
No,
this is self-identifying.
But you realize the precedent you're setting. That somebody's standing there.
If you wear a MAGA hat, here's my bottom line. I laid out the facts clearly. I said it was not reported. The snapshot did not give us a full picture of the complexity of the situation. That's absolutely true. There's no doubt about it. People can come down differently on it, and that's fine too. My point is, in 2019, you're wearing a MAGA hat. You're not doing it because you want lower taxes or smaller government or less environmental regulations. You're doing it because you stand with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is defined, in my view, by bigotry, racism, and sexism.
Now, Dean, you're a lawyer.
You're wearing a hat saying, I am fine with Donald Trump saying, in Charlottesville, there were very fine people on both sides, and saying, I can mock Dr. Christine Ford, and saying, I am fine with calling Africa S-hole countries and calling Maxine Waters low IQ and black people dumb and unintelligent. That hat, that's what it means to me. I could be wrong. Someone could see something different in the Klan hood than I see, okay?
But Dean, don't you see...
This is becoming the definition, I'm being honest with you, of progressives, I can say with almost uniformity. That's how we view a MAGA hat now. It has now become the Klan Confederate flag. I know people on the right disagree vehemently. I'm just telling you our truth now. You can deny our truth, but I'm telling you, that's how we see it now. This is not 2016. That was different in the campaign. Just being fair. I didn't see it as like that in 2016. I thought some were good, some were bad. You're wearing that now?
So you're one reason saying
you're wearing it for. That's a white supremacy hat.
You are drawing an inference that because Nicholas Sandman wore a MAGA hat, that he is signaling to the world that I am a racist, I'm a white supremacist.
No, he's not a racist. He will never say he's a racist. No.
That's a very different thing what you just said. You just said he'll never say.
No
That
racist.
is now Dean.
David
so
Duke,
you're saying
David Duke says he's not a racist. Literally, David Duke says I'm not a racist.
So Dean, you're making an argument that you can never be proven wrong. You're saying that he's secretly a racist.
Subconsciously, is he attracted to Donald Trump, a young kid who's conservative from Kentucky, attracted to a man who embodies views that a George Wallace well, he was not from Kentucky, George Wallace, but other conservative politicians in the South who advocate for white interests? Would he see that in Trump and like Trump, consciously or unconsciously? Yeah. I want people to know, if you're wearing that hat today, I'm telling you what it means to us. You can disagree. It is subjective. Danny, I'm just being honest. Because I think sometimes people don't hear what the other side.
In fairness.
Because there are things that the Trumpers see about us, and they go, you're out of your mind. They go, but that's what we see. So I don't deny their truth.
You made a good point.
I'm telling you my truth.
It's your subject. Well,
it is subjective, but it's my truth.
Well, there's two different. Wait a second.
I'm going to punch you, Danny.
Something that is subjective is not necessarily the truth. Those things are not mutually compatible. Because when you say it is your personal truth,
if you see someone with a MAGA hat walking through your neighborhood, do you think they're wearing that hat defiantly, or just wearing it because it's about low taxes? Do you think they're doing because like, you know what? I really want smaller government. That's what I'm about. I'm into federalism. I want states' right. I want states having powers. Or is it I'm standing with this guy because Donald Trump is a bully and a bigot and a racist, and I like the cut of his jib. So I like the way he carries himself, and that's what I'm about. And white supremacy, Danny, the definition is changing. White supremacy,
of course,
I'm
sure it's expanding.
No. White
I'm sure it's
supremacy
expanding to fit whatever you want it to be.
Burning across on someone's lawn and committing acts of violence so they don't have equal rights or can't vote. White supremacy today is literally much more mathematical. It's simply keeping white people the majority in this country because demographic change is happening. Whatever we say doesn't matter. Danny, you're part Latino. You're part of the problem, buddy. To them, not to me. I love you. Some of them, Cevallos, is part of the problem. Obeidallah is part of the problem. Brown and black people coming in here as immigrants, or black people moving up the ladder, is taking something from them.
Dean, I need to say this.
That's what I'm telling you. Things are changing. So that's why my definition of white supremacy is broader.
Right. I appreciate your social definition of white supremacy and your history of race relations in the United States. Now, can you please answer the question?
What? What is the question?
What was Nicholas Sandman doing in that video that was so offensive? Because your answer is going to require an interpretation of his conduct that you concede was nothing. He did nothing. He stood there.
He said in his own statement that I read earlier in the show,
which was very, very well written, I should add.
That everyone walked out of the way. They parted the way.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he said that the gentleman with the drum came right up to him and stood to him eye to eye.
Okay.
That's his subjective view.
Agreed.
I imagine the man with the drum said, I was just walking through the crowd and this kid just stopped and wouldn't move. And that's what it's about. He made a choice.
Did both of them have a right? Was it fair for either of them to stand where they were? If Nathan Phillips approached him, forget legally. Morally, you're saying that if he's in a particular group, like say a Native American, and he's walking across a place of free speech, that here's the truth. It is Nicholas Sandman's duty to get out of his way.
No, it's not his duty to get his way.
Okay, so he was fine to stand there.
Right,
so standing there was fine.
He had every right to stand there.
No, I didn't say legally. Morally, you're saying that
morally, sure, he could stand there.
Okay, so standing there, we can eliminate that now. Like that. Now standing is out. So the fact that he stood there and didn't move is out. Okay, so now smugly,
and his friends were mocking.
Do you agree? Oh, whoa. Back when I asked you, are you charging Nicholas Sandman with what his friends did? You said no. So we're only talking about what Nicholas did. Forget his friends.
We're painting a full picture.
No, we're not painting a full picture. Because we set the parameters at the beginning of this discussion, Dean. We set the parameters at the beginning of this discussion. You said the only thing you're judging is Nicholas Sandman.
No.
So what did Nicholas Sandman do? So it wasn't standing there, that's out. And it wasn't his friends, that's out. You've agreed. What did he do?
Smugness plus MAGA hat equals...
smug face.
Smugness plus MAGA hat.
MAGA hat.
I'm not denying the MAGA hat is the key.
So he wore a MAGA hat.
If he was wearing an Obama hat, I would have been like, what's wrong with you, buddy? You're an Obama. It would be different. It would come from a different place. I'd be like, why were you being a dick? Because you're still being a dick. Like, why are you being that? Wearing the MAGA hat, let me be honest. The MAGA hat is a political statement. There's no denying it. It's
good.
Right. So,
good. Then you're making my point. A political statement is the most cherished and protected form of speech.
No one's saying you can't do it. And what, in your mind, Danny Cevallos, what does MAGA stand for? And that's
Make America Great Again.
Those are 4 words. What is that concept?
Oh, no. That is your interpretation of what MAGA
I'm
means.
asking you, Danny, to share with us, what does Make America Great Again mean to you? When you hear that.
To me?
Someone wearing a red MAGA hat.
It has no meaning to me. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter at all.
No, I don't mean like that. I just mean in general. Someone with a MAGA hat. What does it mean to you? That's all I'm just asking.
It's a symbol of the Trump campaign for presidency. It's a symbol of approval of President Trump.
In Donald Trump's campaign, I think fairly is defined by a few things. Building a wall to keep Muslims out. I mean, not building a wall to keep Muslims. Totally ban on Muslims.
Okay, but Dean, we're now getting into the area that you conceded is your own subjective take on what the MAGA hat means.
What defines Donald Trump is not policy, not economic policy.
But you're making
bigotry
and
racism and sexism.
That's not true. Donald Trump ran on something other than bigotry.
Right.
He was elected because he ran on. I don't know what it was that he ran on.
I know what he ran on. We know what he ran on. Everyone knows what he ran on.
I was watching some of his old debates, and it's like he didn't answer a single question. So I don't know. He had a platform
because they knew
it was no one pays any taxes.
They know what it's about.
That's not. See, Dean, that's the danger. That's the slippery slope.
No, it's not the danger. We live in a time that demands clarity, that demands no moral ambiguity, a time that demands the most direct speech possible because the stakes are that high.
I'm genuinely asking this question. Objectively, not Dean's subjective personal feelings that are formed by his high school experiences. I'm talking objectivity.
High school experience?
Is Nathan Phillips' speech in that video...
The drum?
Yeah, well, whatever he's doing. Let's just take the whole package of what he's doing and compare it to what Nicholas Sandman is doing. Is their speech morally the same?
One playing the drum and the other looking smugly? Yeah, sure. I don't really, it's not about, you're making a moral argument. I don't even care about morality. This is not about morals.
Well, then what do you don't care about morality, you don't care about legal.
My argument's not morality.
What is the argument?
The argument
so morality's out. We've gotten rid of morality. So it's about what? It has to be about morality. There's nothing left.
I guess morality has a role in it, but not in the sense of the old school morality about...
There's different kinds of morality. You mean what, the 1950s? When you say morality, what morality are we talking?
When you say morality, it conjures up Mike Pence talking about, I can't be alone with women. I mean, that's what morality comes to me. To me, it's about civility and celebrating. Trump is about celebrating cruelty or celebrating compassion. And to me, that's much more what it's about. It's not
But why are we talking about Trump? I'm talking about what Nicholas Sandman doing.
He's wearing a MAGA hat.
But we agree that people voted for Trump.
All right, Danny.
Who were not racist. Okay, all right, I understand. Okay, sorry.
Look, Tim from Iowa says, I don't care about legal statutes. I'm sick of these shitty kids acting like Brett Kavanaugh. Boom. Exactly.
Okay, let's talk to Tim.
All right, let's bring Tim in the conversation.
Come on, Tim.
Then we have to take a break.
I have a lot of questions about this.
Tim, how are you?
I'd just like to start with Danny. I agree with you legally. I completely agree with your statements legally. But we are not getting anywhere with teaching these people that racism and bigotry is no good. We thought we were done with this in the 60s, but we weren't.
Tim.
And then the Supreme Court says, well, racism's all over. You remember that, Danny? You reported on the courts.
That's right.
Shelby County.
Well, no, that's not what Shelby County said, but it was a little more nuanced than that. But yes,
that it was out of date, the voting
Dean will agree. Yeah, Dean will agree that's not exactly what Shelby County said.
Pretty close, though. Go ahead.
But racism is still a problem, and the only way to fix it is to tell people it's no longer okay. So it's okay.
That's the way to fix. That's it.
This child in the court of public opinion and tell him and others like him that it is no longer okay.
Thank you, Tim. I totally agree. Racism is an evil in society. I think personally the challenge is it's something that people conceal, so it's hard to fight. But, Tim, I totally agree with you. Racism is an evil that we should all fight. But I just want to ask you one question.
Oh, no.
Sure.
What was... Because I think you said it's fair to say that you're tired of these kids acting like Brett Kavanaugh, for example, right?
These are the kids who grew up to be Brett Kavanaugh.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Can you tell me, Tim, what was the racist thing that Nick Sandman did in that video? The specific racist thing.
He did not respect another person. I don't care if it was a white person he faced down. He was being a bigot. He did not respect the other person in the picture.
Okay, wait. So stop, Tim. You make a good point. Let me just, because that was an interesting point. So you said it didn't matter if he was white.
Oh, I knew you were going to do this. Oh,
what
my God.
What he still did was
Stop.
racist.
Objection. Tim, let me speak to the judge.
How is that possible?
Can we approach, Your Honor?
If it was a white person, that it would have been racist, Tim. I just don't understand
Danny
your point.
Is not letting my witness answer the questions here. This is ridiculous.
My proud Klingon heritage do not always appreciate the Jedi.
Right. Fair enough.
That's actually a very clever state. I like that, Tim. That was
all
good.
Right, Tim, I got to go to break. Tim, I'm with you.
Of course.
And Danny, just by the way, Danny is a person of color. Sometimes he forgets that, but he is a person of color. And all right, Tim, nice chatting with you. Let's take a quick break. Come back with more of the Dean Obeidallah Show.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
Whoever's the next president, we should call him the 45th president of the United States. And this will go down as a dark time in America that we'll never refer to again.
Sirius XM Progress. And now, more of the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM's Progress.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live right here with Danny Cevallos. We'll take some calls as well, 866-997-4748. We're going to get to some legal stuff, I promise you. But folks, look, at the end of the day of work, whatever you do for a living, if you have a job where you take a shower before work, you take a shower after work. You come home, you're hungry. The last thing you want to figure out is, what am I going to cook? What can I put together? Am I missing ingredients? Well, there's one place that takes care of everything. HelloFresh. That's right, HelloFresh. It is America's #1 meal kit. And why it's so great is that you order online in advance. Pick out the thing, family size, individual size, vegetarian dishes to steak. You've got a full range of meals starting at $6.99 per serving for the gourmet meals. delivered to your house in a box with every single thing you need, including a little recipe guide and an apron and the entree and the side dishes and all the spices to make a delicious meal in 30 minutes or less for you or your family, or cook it with family or friends. It is some great dishes you're getting from, meatloaf and mashed potatoes, that kind of staple, to the grilled glazed salmon, to Chipotle's spicy steak. We're not saying this.
Do they have rainbow trout?
Thank you, Danny. Just ruined my life. It's over. All right. We're going to do this one again. No, I'm not kidding. We're not doing it again. But again, regardless if Danny's laughing at me and sniping, we're going to take some calls that people are going to slam Danny. HelloFresh.com. Right now you can get $40, actually $80 off your first boxes. $20 off your first 4. That's it, Danny. Danny's never coming back.
I'm sorry.
It's all right, Danny. Because when someone laughs and they're 3 inches away from you, you can't stop laughing. HelloFresh.com/Dean. Use promo code Dean80. Save $80. Believe me, check out the website. Not Danny Cevallos' website. HelloFresh.com. Danny, let's take Patty from D.C. who's waiting to give you a piece of her mind. Patty, how are you?
Hi, Patty.
Patty?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, you caught me just as I stuck a piece of chicken in my mouth.
No problem.
That's
I hope
okay.
it's good food. So, what do you think of Danny Cevallos here? I see in the notes you have some issues with
I think
Danny.
he's full of crap.
Okay, why is Danny full of crap?
I think he's full of crap. He's parsing this thing out piece by piece. As people who are always trying to defend these Trumpsters, right? They parse it out piece by piece. Everything is contextual. If Louis Farrakhan had walked up to Bibi Netanyahu and just done the same thing that this guy did, nobody would say that he was not threatening Bibi Netanyahu. Nobody. Everybody. And this whole argument on the web is about the audacity of this boy. Nobody's talking about his legal points. They're talking about the hubris that this little young white twit showed in terms of disrespecting that guy and wearing the Magga hat, everything in context. So you can't piece it out like you're trying to do to make it right.
Well, thank you, Patty. I appreciate your point. But my question is this: is most of your problem with Nick Sandman that he had the Magga hat? In other words, would you have less of a problem with him if he was standing there wearing a Cubs hat?
I would have the same problem if he was standing there wearing a Mickey Mouse hat.
Mickey Mouse hat. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's the hat.
You know why? Because in context, he was blocking the man. He was arrogant, and all his little twit buddies were around there jumping up, doing the tomahawk dance. Everything that they did was disrespectful. Now you can push that to another level and say not only was it disrespectful, it was racist. Because when you bring in the MAGA hat and the dance and the context of everything that was happening around here, you can easily say it's racist.
Well, Patty, I agree.
You cannot parse that out like that and try to make this legal argument. Of course, we all have freedom of speech, but it's in context. You can't go in a movie theater and say fire.
Right, famous statement. By the way, Patty, let me ask you a quick question before Danny jumps in, tries to parse out our conversation here. When you see a MAGA hat now, what does that mean to you in 2019? You see someone wearing a MAGA hat.
He said it himself. He said, when you asked him, what does MAGA mean to you? And he said, people who agree with Trump. Well, Trump is a bigot.
Right.
And if you agree with Trump, you're a bigot too. You can't have it both ways.
Right. Well, Patty, I appreciate, because that's actually almost verbatim what Dean said. And the concern I have is this. If we're going to label a MAGA hat as symbolizing something as awful as racism just by itself, we're saying that nobody can wear a MAGA hat who is not a racist. And that's a syllogism, I think, that lends itself to a lot of concerns, because I think racism is so awful that if we see someone that is wearing a clear symbol of it, like, for example, a swastika, that's the kind of thing, while it may be legal, is something that society should definitely shun. And the thing that you say and that what Dean says that concerns me, and I think reasonable minds can disagree, is that I don't know that we're ready as a society to say that if you're wearing a MAGA hat, you should be treated the same as if you are the speech that you would be basically the speech you would be giving if you were wearing a swastika and I'm trying to think of some other hated racist symbol or Klansman symbol or something.
I don't know why. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's where I think.
I'm telling you, Danny, this is how we feel.
No, I understand, and I think that I just respectfully submit that that's a dangerous thing, because if our society would treat the kind of speech from a swastika or a Klansman outfit very differently than we would of something that may just be controversial. And if you're prepared to put a MAGA hat and say that everybody who's wearing a MAGA hat is the same as wearing a Klansman outfit or a swastika, that's
I didn't bring a swastika.
I understand.
That seemed more unique.
But maybe Patty feels that way, and I don't think that makes. I don't think that there's. I respectfully think that we're not there yet with a MAGA hat, because I think there are people who can wear a MAGA hat who aren't racist.
They're at least,
I think it's dangerous to say everybody who has one is racist.
If you're wearing it in 2019, you're complicit with Donald Trump, because you're wearing it, again, for Trump. It is not a GOP hat.
Oh, I understand. No, I understand.
It's a Trump hat. So you're wearing a hat saying, I stand with this guy, and we know what Donald Trump stands for. At least, Patty, that's how I feel. We know what he stands for. You're wearing that hat. You're doing it now to make a stand, that you stand with him. And I think you have to answer for all of these horrible, racist, bigoted, sexist things Donald Trump has said. And I'm sure if I talk to a Trump supporter, they go, oh, none of it's racist. That's what they tell me. None of it's bigot. None of it's sexist. Well, we have different definitions. You have your own bizarre definition. I have a real-world definition of what these terms mean. You know, we've seen spike in hate crimes in various communities of color.
No, all those things,
I agree. There's a connection.
I agree with the spike in hate crimes. This is not a normal time.
This is not normal times.
Get back.
I would never do this for George Bush. I'm not kidding you.
I understand that. But I want to get back to the danger. I think there's a danger, because no one can articulate to me the specific racist thing that Nick Sandman did in that video, other than, you say, wearing a MAGA hat, which I respect your position on that. I think it's, I respectfully disagree with it.
But what he was doing while wearing it.
What was he doing it? What was he doing?
The smug look and standing in the way of an older brown man who he didn't know was Native American.
Does the video indicate that he's blocking the Native American
the Native American man could have walked probably around him. I'm not positive. I have to look at a wider shot. I never said he was taking him hostage or anything like that. So it was never imprisonment. I never alleged it.
I mean, last question. Did Nicholas Sandman have a moral right to forget legal? Did he have a moral right to stand where he was?
Sure.
Yes, he did. We're done. Then we agree. We agree. He had a moral right to stand there. So that leaves only the MAGA hat. You and Patty disagree, by the way.
What? No, well,
Patty
me and Patty
says
actually
he didn't have a moral right to stand.
Do not try to separate us. Me and Patty agree a lot. All right, Patty, thanks for your call, my friend. I love Patty's notes in the comments were my favorite of any call. I just said, Danny is full of shit. That's what it said.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, crap. A MAGA hat doesn't affect Danny as a white male.
Okay.
Oh, here comes a David Webb moment.
Okay.
Danny's going to say.
Oh, yeah, right.
No, Q from Columbus. How are you, Q?
Okay.
Hey, how are you, Danny?
Hi, Q. Thanks for calling.
Okay, so I have two comments.
Right.
And the latter one I'll say for you, Danny, with all due respect. So Covington, Kentucky. Let me give you a sit rep on Covington.
I've been there, by the way. I'm familiar with Covington. It's right across the river from Cincinnati.
It's across the bridge from the Natty. The Natty is basically, it's the armpit of the beast. It's a Republican stronghold. Kentucky is Mitch McConnell's state. Covington is basically the armpit of Cincinnati. Everybody goes across the bridge to, buy alcohol, go to bars. It's a nowhere spot. And those kids are basically, they're exercising their right because they live in a place where they condone that, where they wink at it. Now, there were 2 black people killed in a Kroger in Kentucky. You don't hear anything about it.
Right.
The reality is this, Danny. With all due respect, it doesn't affect you because you're a white male. You can wink at it. You can condone it. You can marginalize it because living in America right now, black and brown people are getting hell. And I just had to call because just listening to you, I watch you on MSNBC and I like you and everything, but I just really can't believe you came off like that. I don't really appreciate how you came off.
Right. Well, Q, actually, I don't know. First, we are having a bit of a David Webb moment because I'm not a white male. I'm Latino, but part two is thanks for your call. I really appreciate what you're saying, but I haven't really taken a position tonight. I've really just asked Dean some questions. I don't have any. It may be the case that those kids are racist. I just haven't yet seen the evidence. But Q, here's my one question to you. I think I understand that you're saying that Covington is a place that I've been to, and you're saying that culturally it's a place where racism thrives. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So that may be true. That may be your experience. I have no reason to doubt you whatsoever. So I think you're saying that Nick Sandman is, from what you saw in that video, what did he do that affirmed or supported that racist culture that you talked about in Covington? Tell me the thing that he did.
Let me tell you what I saw. What I saw was a young brat who basically was the junior to this adult man who's an Indian, who really had this country taken from him. And to have this little young kid, this little smug, crass, little shit, look in his face, I thought it was totally disrespectful. And then the guys in the background taking him on and what have you. I don't think it was right. I don't think it's right. But this is the environment we live in right now.
Yep.
This is, white folks are doing the things that they thought about doing, that they used to think about doing all the time, but they never had the power or the gumption to do it. Now they have the people that gave them, empowered them to do it. And for you to be a Latino, to kind of, wink at it and, kind of just like, Puerto Rico sucked. What happened in Puerto Rico sucked. And the Trump administration is horrible. And I don't understand how you can come off so laissez-faire.
Well, Q, one thing I will say, though, about Danny, because I known him now for a long time, he's clearly opposed to any kind of racism or bigotry. He doesn't give it a slide. He's being very lawyerly here in playing this little mock trial with me because he enjoys cross-examining me here.
Well, here's the thing, Q, and Dean's right, but more specifically, there are moments where there is clear evidence of racism. So you'll forgive me that being a lawyer, I look for evidence. And what I see in other cases, you see sometimes in police shootings, you sometimes see evidence of choices that may or may not have been racist. You see sometimes in church shootings clear, unequivocal, incontrovertible evidence of racism. And when that happens, that is our opportunity to punish racism. But tonight, in asking some folks, and I'm genuinely just asking, and you characterize what I'm doing as a wink. I don't know that I don't know if you're watching or you can see me, but I'm not winking at anything. I don't think racism is funny or cute or anything. But the important thing is, if we're going to hold, especially a child, I don't know how old he is, if he's a minor or what.
Yeah.
If we're going to hold someone up to this level of scorn, I just want to know what he did. And I'm getting differing answers. For Dean, it was that he wore a Magga hat. For you, you didn't mention the hat, and you had plenty of opportunity to. For you, is that you interpreted his face as smug. I'm not seeing the hard evidence that makes me comfortable in condemning what he did yet. Maybe it's there. Maybe we'll find on his Facebook page that he's said a lot of things that are totally racially insensitive, and then I'll be right there with you to fight the racism. But at this point, I'm not ready to condemn people because both of two people were in a place where free speech was encouraged morally. I'm not talking about legally. And a Native American gentleman was exercising his right to speak. And in fact, I think Nick Sandman was clearly exercising his right to not speak. And we've agreed, right. Dean's agreed, there was no moral obligation on either side to step away or move out of the way. They're both perfectly free to stand there.
Sometimes logic says you can not lawyer a situation.
To punish Nick Sandman.
No one's punishing him.
Last statement.
Okay.
To hold him up to scorn. Everything I've heard from you and our callers tonight has required a discussion of something outside of what Nick Sandman did. In other words, for Q, it's his experience with Covington and the culture there. So Nick Sandman is being held to answer for Covington. For you, it's a red Magga hat. And for our last caller, it's about a history of racism in this country. All things that are bad, arguably. But I still haven't heard, respectfully, the evidence of what is seen in that video other than a kid smiling and people's interpretation that it's smug. But if we're going to get to a place where standing and smugness is punishable, then I'm concerned.
Standing and smug, you can always ridicule someone. If I'm smug, people can make fun of me. That's life. I mean, that's what you invite that
and there may have been kids in that crowd that were doing outrageous things. I just don't know.
But all right, Q, thanks for your call, my friend. I appreciate it. And it's interesting, though, to add the context to it because I didn't know anything about the town he was from in Kentucky. So it's interesting to hear what Q was saying about there. Look, I watched the video while you're talking over my shoulder here, and I watched the kid. And they had a side angle with his friends taunting the Native American guy there, or at least cheering on their friend. And when we see the full picture, Danny, forget law, forget breaking it down. It's a visceral feeling. And that's where I understand the legal stuff. I'm a lawyer myself. But there are times when you can't break this down in cross-examination. There's times that you can't just use logic to apply to it. We all come to a situation based on our own understanding, our own knowledge. And when we see something that concerns us, like a MAGA hat, and I'm telling you, and I know you push back, and you have every reason to push back on it, because if you don't live in this world that we do as progressives, because you're a lawyer first, you're not a political activist, you're not going to get with the MAGA hat. That's what I was telling you. This is what the MAGA hat reveals to us. I see a guy in a MAGA hat on the subway. Progressives.
You're speaking
I saw
for
a guy
progressives.
on a MAGA hat wearing a MAGA hat on the subway the other day.
Okay.
I almost wanted to go to protect him. It looked like people were going to punch him in the face. Nobody did. But the anger towards him was palpable. Because if you're wearing a MAGA hat in Manhattan,
I
you're
agree.
doing it for you're doing it to be provocative. Doesn't mean
agree.
you should be hit at all. No one. But you're doing it to be provocative.
Yeah.
Like you're there with your buddies all wearing your MAGA hat. You're doing it to make a statement. I stand with Donald Trump.
By the way,
I asked a little kid, what do you like about Trump? Do you think he's going to say racism? No. But do you think he's going to say a tax cut for corporations? No, either. It'll be this kind of amorphous, I like this about him. Because nobody says the real reason when it's for the bad, dark reasons. Nobody says it. And I'm not saying he's a racist. I know nothing about him. I'm telling you, if you're wearing the MAGA hat today, if you're that uninformed to know what that MAGA hat means to so many Americans, just like a Confederate flag, someone could debate the Confederate statutes. Donald Trump defends them literally countless times. They're a history. To many other Americans, there are signs of hate. There is celebration of white supremacy. So you can see that there's two sides to that. And depending where you line up, I get it. So that's why, if you don't see the MAGA hat as that, this is why I completely understand.
I didn't say that I didn't see that.
No. If you don't see the MAGA hat as representing what we do it, then I can completely understand why you're like, what? Why? I don't see the racism. I see a guy.
I don't have an opinion about what the MAGA hat represents, but I'll say this.
Without that,
I don't
it's a
think
different conversation.
I don't think I'm prepared to say, as a syllogistic statement, that every person who wears a MAGA hat must be
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Fred from South Dakota is a Native American. We're going to take your call, Fred. I want to hear what you have to say about this. Be right back after this break.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
Voting is the most important civil right of our era because the right to vote preserves all other rights. It's not the Second Amendment. It's not guns. It's voting.
Sirius XM Progress.
The biggest stories of the day. Right now. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show.
On Sirius XM Progress 127.
Yes.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live right here, January 22nd. Look, folks, it's a new year. How would you like a great resolution? I know it's 22 days in, but something that can help you all year long, and that's having great sleep. Being restive. It allows you to debate with Danny Cevallos much better. It allows me to write my articles better. It allows us to have conversations with each other and be better for your loved ones, frankly. And Boll and Branch sheets are the greatest gift to do that. Give yourself a gift after this long year we had. And their sheets get softer every time you wash them. 100% organic cotton. And they are luxury sheets at truly luxury at half the price, and not because they're less quality, because they've cut out the middle person. They sell directly to you. They've been loved by thousands of Americans, including 3 U.S. presidents, but I can tell you sincerely, I sleep on them every night. And you can try them out 30 nights risk-free. And if you don't love them, like I do, you can send them back. There's no questions asked whatsoever. And if you go to bollandbranch.com, save $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping. Just go to BOLL and branch.com and use promo code DEAN. That's BOLL and branch.com, promo code DEAN. By the way, Nathan Phillips, the man who was in this incident, is going to be on Mark Thompson's show tomorrow morning live, I believe 8 a.m. Eastern time. So check it out. Maybe what time? 8:30? And maybe we'll play a clip of it on our show tomorrow if we continue this conversation. So here's Fred from South Dakota. Fred, how are you?
Hey, Dean, my Muslim buddy.
How's it going? How's South Dakota? And tell us, you're a Native American. We only have a few minutes till we have a break. But what is your point of view in what you saw?
First, a little background. I'm Obeidallah, or Minicoja Lakota from the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe of South Dakota.
Okay.
I'm also a veteran of Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm.
What Phillips was doing, he was praying. He was singing a prayer song. So now, does that change any opinion?
That's interesting. No one has said that at all.
No, it's a very interesting point.
It gives it tells us his motivation of what was going on. What was the prayer about, Fred?
I don't speak his language. I don't know what the prayer was, but I would guess it was for everyone. For peace.
What was the gesture? What was the element that allowed you to recognize it as prayer? How did you know that? What did you see that I didn't see? How do you know that it's prayer?
Because that's how we do it.
Okay.
With the drum, with song,
with
pipe, with feathers, and there's no way you can't say that was not racist. The kids were doing the tomahawk chop.
Oh yeah, that. Fred, I saw that tomahawk chop. That concerned me.
Fred, let me ask Fred, as a Native American, the tomahawk chop, is that a funny little game, or is that a symbol of sports, or is that a racist gesture in your view as a Native American?
No. It's not fun.
Okay,
right.
It's not funny.
Right.
That doesn't bother me as much as the other stuff. As somebody painting their faces up, wearing fake feathers.
Right.
That means something.
Right.
That's part of our religion.
Yeah.
Fred, I'm sorry, man.
Sorry,
I
Fred.
imagine you saw it in a whole different way as a Native American, and what Mr. Phillips was trying to do was to bring peace by prayer, and instead, he's met with smugness and jeers and taunts by Nathan and his friends. Not by Nathan, by Nick and his friends.
Of course, they were all mocking him.
Right.
With the dances and with whatever they were doing. But he was praying, and then let's turn it around.
Fred, we have to put you on hold. I have to go to break. Stick around, Fred. We'll come right back for like a minute.
Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127. Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
And welcome back. So we just have a minute. I want to get back to Fred. Fred, I'm sorry we forced a break. So we have a minute left, Fred. What else could you share? Anything else about your reaction to seeing what happened there?
It just says a lot, about the Catholic Church. They don't really care about abortion. The kids were just there for the numbers, and it's all about money. But let's turn it around. What if the kid had a crucifix and he was praying, and Nathan or
I got like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. No, I get your point. What if it was the other way around? How would we respond to the media? Fred, I wish I had more time. I have no time. The show's over.
Thanks for calling, Fred.
Fred, thank you, my friend. I appreciate your call. I appreciate you. Folks, we'll be back tomorrow night. All new show right here on the Dean Obeidallah Show. Thanks, Danny, for being here. Appreciate it, my friend.